And good afternoon, everybody. This is indeed the Michael K. Show. We thank you for joining us on this Monday, April 20th, 2026. It's me and you for two. Those are the rules of engagement. It's the fastest 2 hours in sports talk radio. Might be the fastest 2 hours in the world. And you know the password, right? To be a co-host, 1-800-919-3776, 1-800-919-3776. And before we even start, just to make people of a certain age feel old, today, April 20th, is Donald Arthur Mattingly's birthday. And you know how old Don Mattingly is? He's 65. Don Mattingly is eligible for Medicare. Kind of makes you think, huh? Time is flying. So happy birthday to Don Mattingly. So many things to hit on. We'll try to get to all of them. The Giants make a big trade. They trade Dexter Lawrence for the 10th pick in the draft from the Cincinnati Bengals. We have Sal Paolantonio on at 2 o'clock to do a deep dive on that. You could say that the Giants kind of gave in, but they did get back a good return for Dexter Lawrence. And this is what I laid out. If you could make a trade and get a draft pick in this draft, and you think that you could solve some issues, then you should do it. And if you couldn't get a draft pick in this draft, and they told you they would only give it a draft pick in future drafts, then I would make that deal, but I wouldn't make it before the draft, and I wouldn't make it before I made Dexter Lawrence really, really sweat. Or I would tell him to sit and rot and either play for the Giants or you don't play at all. So they were able to get something in this draft, the 2026 draft, coming up later this week. And the 10th pick, not too bad. Not too bad, but the Giants do have a big hole in the middle of their defense. We'll talk about that with Sal Pal. The Knicks won their first playoff game against the Hawks, 113-102. For the most part, you really never thought that the Hawks had a chance. Toward the end, they pulled it to within 8, and then a missed 3, which would have made it 5. But the Knicks seemed like they were in control the entire game. Jalen Brunson had a great first quarter, 19 points. After that, he was awful, but Karl Anthony Towns picked things up. He's going to have to be a dominant player against the Hawks because they really don't have anybody that could guard him. Good defense by the Knicks as well for the most part. Game 2 is tonight at Madison Square Garden. Game 2 tonight at Madison Square Garden, and you could hear all the action right here on 880 ESPN. The Yankees swept the Royals, so they kind of righted the ship just a little bit. But my warning to Yankee fans, you can't get too giddy about this because the Royals are in a bad spot right now. They simply cannot hit at all. At all. So the Yankees did what you had to do. You beat up on a bad team. And they always beat up on the Royals. Always beat up on the Royals. Dating back to 2015, the record is insane how many times they've beaten the Royals. And remember, the Royals have made the playoffs a couple of times. And in 2015, they went to the World Series and won. And the Yankees still beat up on them like they own them. Like they own them. So you feel good, but don't feel like, oh, wow, the tide has turned. They're in great shape right now. You did what you had to do. You beat a bad team. You did what you had to do, and you beat a bad team. Now, today, they're off. First off day they've had after playing 13 straight. And tomorrow they start a really long road trip. 3 games against Boston, 3 games against the Astros, and 3 games against the Rangers. Those are a little bit more of a litmus test. The Astros have a lot of injuries, not playing well. Texas isn't bad, and Boston's struggling. Garrett Crochet has not pitched well in his last 2 starts. He lost yesterday. Sonny Gray walked off the field in his start on Patriots Day in Boston against the Tigers, and he has a bad hamstring. So everything's going wrong for the Red Sox. Let's see what the Yankees do up at Fenway Park. Again, feel good that they beat the Royals, but don't celebrate because you're supposed to beat the Royals. Supposed to beat the Royals. And the Yankees finished their homestand 5-2. They got lucky. They won 2 games, walk-off games against Jordan Romano of the Angels. Otherwise, they couldn't have been in a lot of trouble. So they split that 4-game set. They beat the Royals 3 in a row, so 5-2 on the homestand. And right now, without even breaking a sweat or showing the best side of themselves, the Yankees are, in fact, in first place in the American League East, and they will be when they start the game tomorrow against the Boston Red Sox. But we will start the show today by accentuating what's going on with the New York Mets. They have lost 11 games in a row. They can't score. Their offense is abysmal. They got great pitching yesterday till Devin Williams blew it in the ninth inning, giving up a hit to Michael Conforto to drive in a run to tie the game. And then the Mets ended up losing in the 10th inning. Nico Horner drove in the winning run from third base against Craig Kimbrell, and that's it. So the Mets have lost 11 in a row in April. And the only team to lose 11 in a row in April and make the playoffs, the New York Giants back in 1951. Now, I am not giving up on the Mets right now, but one little note I want to give you. So we looked it up. James Smythe, who does all the research for me in the booth on Yes, he's one of the great, brilliant baseball minds I've ever come across. He's great. And I said, have the Yankees ever had that long of a losing streak? The last time the Yankees had a double-digit losing streak, so that's 10 games or more. You know what it was? Do you know what it was? 1913. 1913. And the Yankees were a bad team then. They were only 10 years old. Their franchise started in 1903, so that was obviously before Babe Ruth, before Yankee Stadium, all those things. That's the last time they had a double-digit losing streak. Now, this is the Mets' longest losing streak since, I guess it's 22 years now. It's just amazing when you consider that the Mets have the second highest payroll in baseball behind the Dodgers. They have a payroll that's $370 million, and they can't hit. And when you look at them now, they're like a mismatched team. And you just wait for something to go wrong. They seem like they're waiting for something to go wrong, and it does. Because before they went into Wrigley Field, they weren't a great team, the Cubs. You can't just say, when you went into L.A. to meet the Dodgers are a great team. And you're struggling, so you figure, wait, they could get swept there. But you go into Wrigley after an off day on Thursday, and you figure things could get right here. They didn't. They got worse. 10 in a row. But here is the lifeline I'm going to throw the Met fans. Despite the record, which is the worst in baseball, tied with Kansas City at 7-15, there's 140 games left in the season. And you can find a stat for everything. We go back to 1951, last time a team lost 11 in a row and made the playoffs, but that was a different world. There are 3 wild cards now. There are 3 wild cards. So let's say 140 games remaining. And if out of those 140 games, they won 80 of them, they go 80-60, which is not an outrageous rate, especially for a team that, Vegas, in all their simulations, thought was going to be a really good team, maybe a 93-win team. If they win 80 of the 140 games, so they go 80-60, they're an 87-win team and they're going to make the playoffs. Now, you can say, well, Michael, they haven't won since June 12th of last year. They have one of the worst records of all time. Not of all time, but one of the worst records in Major League Baseball during that time. True, but this isn't last year's team. Now, you can say the Yankees had the same thing happen to them. You can say, well, they're running it back. They're running it back. Well, and if they started off this poorly, you can say, well, maybe it's just not a good team. This isn't the same Met team that finished the season on its back last year, not making the playoffs. It's not. It's completely different. Now, the thing you have to worry about, maybe David Stearns did everything wrong in putting this team together. But one other caveat before we bury the Mets. Juan Soto has missed 14 games. They're 3-11, so they won the first 3 games after he went down with the calf injury, and now they've lost 11 straight. He's expected back sometime during this homestand. And if he comes back and the Mets turn things around right away, I'm going to let you in on a little secret, which is kind of weird that you'd ever think about it. He might be underpaid. And as strange as it sounds, and as strange as the money that the Mets gave him and that the Yankees offered him, and people were rolling their eyes and, oh my God, that's unbelievable. How could they do that? He is underpaid. When Kyle Tucker's making $60 million a year, and he's not near the player that Juan Soto is. Juan Soto's underpaid. But that's beside the point. We're not even getting to Soto on this. Here's the lifeline I'm going to throw to the Met fans. Their next 9 games are against the Twins, who are 11-11, started off well, but they've come back down to earth. And I told you, I think it was last week, I said, before you get nervous about anything, remember one thing. It's so early that the Twins have the best record in baseball, and they're not the best team in baseball. They had the best record in the American League at that time, and now they're coming back down to earth. 11-11. So that's the first 3 teams that come into Citi Field. Then the Rockies come in, 9-13. And then the Nats come in at 10-12. This is where you turn it around. So at this point, I don't think Mendoza's job is in jeopardy. First of all, I don't think it's his fault. Mendoza doesn't not hit with runners in scoring position. It's the players that don't hit. Now, you could question the strategy. Why did he pitch to Horner? Why didn't he walk him to set up a double play in the 10th inning? All legitimate, but he had a good answer. I don't like the fact he said, well, he would have stolen second base. So what? That doesn't matter. But there were good hitters coming up after him. So you're going to have to get somebody out. And they couldn't get out Horner. But these 9 games are going to decide whether or not Carlos Mendoza keeps his job. Because if you do poorly in these 9 games, you're going to have to throw the fans something. And the thing that you're going to throw the fans is Carlos Mendoza. Again, I don't think he's the issue. I think the composition of the team might be the issue, and not having Soto might be the issue. But those are 9 games where things have to start going right. If they go 6-3, okay, you take a little bit of a deep breath. All of a sudden, that would make them 13-18. Still not perfect. And I heard what Chris Carlin just said with Dan Grosso. I think Dan said you really need to go 7-2. 7-2 is heavy lifting, even against bad teams. 7-2 is heavy lifting. I'll take 6-3, and you take it from there. You get your team closer to what it should be. You get back Juan Soto. And then you see exactly where you are at that moment. But things cannot be worse. Devin Williams blew the save yesterday on the heels of an absolutely terrible performance that he had in a non-save situation against the Dodgers. My concern with Devin Williams, a lot of his game is mental. And I think that when he opened last season with the Yankees and got booed at Yankee Stadium in Game 1 against Milwaukee, which they ended up winning, and he held on, but he was getting booed because he made it really nerve-wracking, I think that sets him back. So you hope that now he's not in a headspace where he goes, oh, here we go again. But you look at this team, and the problem is not the pitching, although Senga again struggled, and David Peterson didn't start yesterday, but he came in as the bulk guy and actually pitched quite well. It wasn't about the pitching. The Nets have lost 11 straight, and the run differential, they've been outscored 62-19. 62-19. So in baseball, they are 30th in on-base percentage, 29th in slugging, and 29th in OPS. That's pitiful. That's your issue. So you have a completely different team. You have a completely different coaching staff because they cleaned house on Mendoza, and they brought in all these different coaches who now have to get their message across to the players. And, oh, yeah, you're playing without one of the best players in baseball. I do not believe that the Mets season is over. I don't. And the 11-game losing streak stat that everybody gives out and I gave out, it's not applicable because only recently have we gone to 3 teams making it as a wild card. There's plenty of open space for the Mets to make it. I still don't believe in the Braves. The Phillies are off to a terrible start as well. So there's an opening for the Mets to make it. There's an opening for them to turn it around. But if they don't do well in these 9 games where maybe they go 3-6, then you're going to see Mendoza get fired. Early, yes. But they're going to have to throw something to the masses. They just are. Wouldn't it be unbelievable if Steve Cohen flexed a little George Steinbrenner DNA and brought back Buck Showalter? I don't think he'd do it. I mean, David Stearns didn't have the decency to even talk to Showalter before he fired him. Supposedly there was a phone call after, but never talked to him before he fired him. How would he know whether or not he's a good enough manager? If Carlos Mendoza is not the right manager, and I don't believe that to be true, that's on David Stearns. That's his hand-picked manager. He came in, got rid of Buck Showalter without even talking to him, and interviewed a load of people, and Carlos Mendoza was his choice. So if Carlos Mendoza turns out to be not the right manager, it's on David Stearns. This roster is on David Stearns. I mean, your best offensive player is the guy who was your offense yesterday, MJ Melendez? I mean, really? That's what you have? And the Mets scored one run against the Cubs' fifth starter, Javier Assad. That's their fifth starter. They couldn't score any runs. This team is tight. They've got to loosen things up. All right, it's time for you, the co-host, 1-800-919-3776. Now, before I go to the phones, I want to remind Knicks fans that it is playoff time. And ESPN New York is taking over the streets. Oh, yeah. Join us for a live Game 2 pregame block party outside the Garden at Plaza 33. That's today starting at 3 p.m. Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg broadcasting live, talking Knicks, breaking it all down, getting you ready for tip-off. It's your city, your team, so come be part of it. And I guess it's a new thing when the Knicks win a game in the playoffs. They take over 7th Avenue. I don't get it. It's one game. You got to win 16. You should be able to beat the Hawks. I picked the Knicks in 5 in the series. You're going to close streets the first game of the first series? Have fun, I guess. And again, I don't know if it's a lot of people, but there's a subset of New York sports fans that really make you sick. Knicks are beating the Hawks and they're chanting bleep Trae Young, who's not even on the team. So clever. So clever, really. 1-800-919-3776. That's the number. Remember, Sal Paolantonio, who's been embedded with the Jets, with their upcoming draft picks that they have, also knows a lot about what's going on with the Giants, who they might pick with 5 and 10. We'll talk to Sal at 2 o'clock. But we're starting with baseball and the Mets with their 11 straight losses. And let's start with Jamie in Yonkers. Jamie, you're first today on the show. What's up, my friend?
Hey, Michael. How are you this afternoon?
I'm good. How you doing?
Well, I'm a suffering Mets fan, but I'm not willing to write this year off yet. And I want to run something by you. You didn't bring it up in the opening, but I think it's something you're cognizant of. Can't the World Baseball Classic be somewhat to blame in all this? You bring in a whole bunch of new players. You bring in, the underrated thing, a whole bunch of new coaches. Like, don't you think it's possible that was an issue here?
It's interesting. I brought it up, Jamie, during, I think, the Yankee game on Saturday, that there are a lot of players that have gotten off poorly that played in the WBC. But then, in fairness and balancing, there are a lot of players that played in the WBC and got off to great starts. But I see the point you're making. This is essentially a new team. And the Mets, I believe, had 13 performers, 13 players that played on one or other team in the WBC. And maybe it does take away from the time that you need to bring chemistry to a team. I mean, I feel that the most egregious decision to leave the team was Mark Vientos, when he's got to learn how to play first base, and he decided to go off and play in the WBC where he played third base. That's not putting your team ahead of your personal desires. But I don't think that this is – I just think it's too convenient. I think we could fit any narrative whichever way we want to play with it. Any narrative whichever way we want to play. So if you want to say it's the WBC, you can lean on that. I think it's a poorly constructed offense, a lot of square pegs and round holes, but they're still good enough to make the playoffs. And the fact that we're even talking about making the playoffs, they should be better than that. They have a $370 million payroll. They were projected by all of the projection sites to win the second most games in the National League to the Dodgers. They weren't projected to sneak in as a wild card, which is what they tried to do last year with 83 wins. That's not the projection. This team was not built to just sneak in. It's just not. This team is built to dominate. Losing 11 straight certainly puts them behind the 8 ball, but I am not going to sit here on April 20th, Don Mattingly's birthday, which should be a national holiday. I'm not going to sit here and bury them yet. Maybe I'm being pie in the sky. There's too much baseball left to play. This simply is. There's too much baseball left to play. And you are going to get back Juan Soto. You just do not remove the best player on a team from that team and not have that team suffer. Because let's just go to the other side of the city. We have seen what the Yankees are without Aaron Judge. When he ran into the wall of Dodger Stadium a couple of years ago, that was it. That was it. They were done. A team that every year seems to make the playoffs didn't make it that year. Now, he missed a lot of games, a lot more games than Juan Soto's going to end up missing. But when you take the best player out of the equation, it is going to have a negative effect. It simply is. Let's go to David on the east side. David.
Michael, want to talk about Ben Rice.
Okay.
I think he's the real deal.
He looks
look,
great.
I know there's going to be a market correction. Even MVPs or Tony Judge, they can't keep this up all season. But Rice's underlying metrics have always been great. The hard hit rate, the barrel rate, the OBP. And what's impressed me about this year is he seems to be taking it to another level. I think what it means is he's becoming a more intelligent hitter. He's mastering the art of hitting. And that's a sign that this is someone really special and not a flash in the pan. So here's my question.
Okay.
With all these extensions for guys who've never even played a game in the majors, maybe we should be talking about a Ben Rice extension, stay ahead of the salary cap. That seems to be the trend now. If I had to pick one guy you would do this to, it would probably be Ben Rice.
Well, a couple of things, David. He's 26 years old. I mean, the other guys that are signed are like, they're 18, they're 19. Connor Griffin from Pittsburgh, Milwaukee signed a teenager. Seattle signed a teenager. The Yankees have not done that often. And the reason is that when push comes to shove, they have enough money to get any player that they want, to keep any player that they want. Didn't work with Soto, but Soto wasn't a homegrown Yankee, so with 1 year he didn't have the attachment that Judge did. The Yankees outbid everybody for Judge, essentially. They got him to come back. So I just don't think they're going to do that with a 26-year-old that they still have under control for 4 years. The teams that are doing this essentially are smaller market teams that even if there's a cap, they know there's going to be a floor, and they're going to have to spend a certain amount of money. So let's spend a certain amount of money on our homegrown talent and keep them. The Yankees have historically not done that. And the times that they've done it hasn't worked out. It didn't work out with Aaron Hicks. It didn't work out with Luis Severino. Yeah, it would control the payroll for sure, but I just don't know if they're in that business. Just like the Mets are not in that business. Just like the Dodgers are not in that business. When you can compete on the open market and pay top dollar, you don't have to do that. So you bet on your player, and the Yankees have said this before about certain players. We want them to do as great as they can, and then they want to become a free agent. Then hopefully we'll be able to sign him, which is exactly what they did with Judge. Judge hit 52 home runs in his first year. Did they sign him to an extension? No. They let him play for 5 more years, and then he made huge money. I just don't see the Yankees doing that with Rice. Now, if you want to say, would they do it with George Lombard Jr.? Maybe. But again, big market teams don't do it that often. They just don't. They don't see the wisdom in it. They'll bet on the player to be as great as they could possibly be, and then they'll pay him when they have to pay him. 1-800-919-3776. I don't even know why I'm giving you the number. I don't know why. There's no place to go. As we say in the business, a full bank of calls. People want to talk. People want to be the co-host on the show. I get it. I thought about the show all weekend. I actually thought about calling the powers that be. Let me do a show on Sunday. There's so much stuff going on. I said, no, we'll wait till Monday. Our co-host could wait till Monday. It's going to be a great show. Fastest 2 hours in sports talk radio. A lot of stuff to do. Settle in. Let's enjoy. A lot of stuff to talk about. Good with the Knicks. We'll see with the Giants. Good with the Yankees up to this point. Bad with the Mets. We're here with you. The K-Show until 3 on ESPN New York.
Monday with Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. The show will be live from the Knicks block party outside of MSG ahead of Game 2 between the Knicks and Hawks.
Right-hand bank shot and a foul. Karl Anthony Towns is taking over, and this place is going nuts.
We'll have special guests throughout the show as the Knicks look to go up 2-0 in their series against Atlanta. Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg live from the Knicks block party on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
1-877 Cars for Kids. K-A-R-S Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now or go to carsforkids.org.
7 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
If you're heading into summer without a medical emergency kit, you're taking a risk most people don't think about until it's too late. Summer colds linger and can turn into sinus infections that last for weeks. Getting sick right now before vacation can derail everything. And when you're traveling, finding a doctor and pharmacy is stressful. That's why I ordered a medical emergency kit. It's like having urgent care and a pharmacy right at home. It includes essential prescriptions like amoxicillin and generic Z-Pak to treat a wide range of common and serious illnesses. So if you wake up sick at home or on the road, you already have what you need. No waiting for your doctor, no hours at urgent care, no pharmacy lines, no copays. Just match your symptoms to the right prescription in your guidebook or call their telemedicine doctor standing by. Start on your meds sooner and feel better faster. Every home needs at least one medical emergency kit. Order yours online in minutes and it's shipped to your door. And save $45 with my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880. That's promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880.
Hey, New York and New Jersey, Boost Mobile has an unlimited talk, text, and data plan that's only $25 a month forever, meaning you'll only ever pay $25 a month for the rest of your life. Who wouldn't want unlimited wireless when it only costs $25 a month forever? If you don't, you must be one of those people who enjoy overpaying for their phone plan. $25 a month forever is truly as good as it gets, so go online and switch now at boostmobile.com. After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Mobile Unlimited plan.
Here it comes.
Surprise! There's an avocado shortage! Now half your food truck menu is costing more than it's making you! Also, you're out of napkins!
Those aren't cheap.
Progressive knows small business owners usually don't like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise, saving 13% on commercial auto insurance when you pay in full.
Also, an ice cream truck stole your parking spot! Looks like you're in a turf war!
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
It's Rich Eisen for Pella Windows and Doors. Sometimes teams take a timeout to regroup and call the right play. When it comes to your home, Pella Windows and Doors always has the winning game plan. They do it every day, and that's why your neighbors trust them. Visit Pella.com/Eisen today. Right now, Pella Windows and Doors of New Jersey is offering up to 25% off windows and doors and 0% financing for 24 months. Some restrictions may apply. See store for details. Offer ends April 30th, 2026.
Right now, new FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. That's right. Turn $5 into $250 in bonus bets just for getting started. And when every possession matters in the playoffs, FanDuel makes it easy to get closer to the action. From player props on your favorite stars to all the tools you need to back them up, FanDuel puts player research right at your fingertips so you can check stats, trends, and matchups all in one place and make your picks with confidence. It's everything you need all in one app, so don't miss your shot. Head to FanDuel.com/local to get started. FanDuel, play your game and make your picks with confidence. Must be 21 and older and physically present in New York. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467369.
Hey, it's Alan Hahn. Rings End is your locally owned Benjamin Moore retailer. They're your store for quality with a full line of brilliant and durable Benjamin Moore paints. They're your store for inspiration with thousands of colors and a variety of sheens. And Rings End is your store for expertise with one-on-one advice for contractors and homeowners. Insist on Benjamin Moore paint from Rings End, because the gorgeous color you love can't be matched in another brand of paint.
Hi, this is Chevy, managing partner at Precision Solar. If you're looking at solar in New York, New Jersey, or Connecticut, here's what actually matters. Real numbers, honest answers, and a team that handles everything. We manage the entire process from start to finish. Designs, approvals, installation, and even a brand new roof if you need one. We don't sell you more than your home actually needs. Just smart systems designed for long-term savings and predictable energy costs. Visit PrecisionSolar.com to schedule your free home assessment. Precision Solar, built to perform for decades.
Harry Douglas here to tell you about Confetti Craze 5-Hour Energy. It tastes just like the best birthday cake ever. Vanilla, buttery, frosting vibes. It's basically a party in a bottle. And here's the best part. All cake, no sugar. And you know I love my cake. So I get that big birthday energy without any sugar guilt. The bottle's small, easy to toss in my bag, and perfect when I need a quick, tasty caffeine boost to cakeify my day. The Funfetti flavor is back on 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. Crack open a Confetti Craze 5-Hour Energy shot today.
Evan Cohen here. In life, as in sports, the pros make it look easy. That's why pro golfers like Jason Day, Ben Griffin, and Patton Kazire trust the pros in lawn care. True Green. They have the experience and expertise to give you a lawn worthy of the PGA Tour. And since True Green does the work for you, you get more free time, or more tee times. So stop stressing over your lawn and start loving it. Sign up now at TrueGreen.com, because nobody makes it easier to get a golf course quality lawn than True Green, the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour.
Well, Game Time is brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. 8 p.m., this is the one that matters. Knicks host the Hawks at Madison Square Garden for Game 2 of the first round of the NBA playoffs. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. right here on 880 ESPN. Tullamore Dew, the original triple distilled, triple blended, triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew. Try the new Tullamore Dew Honey during today's action. Glass up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. It's funny. We all try to map out the path to a championship. And we talk about, well, they're going to have to get past the Celtics in the second round. And when they do that, then they're going to have to get past the Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals. Anything could happen. Now, the Celtics look like they're going to have an easy go of it against Philly. But do you see that the Pistons lost the first game to the Magic? Now, I'm not saying the Pistons are going to lose that series, but anything could happen. That's why these predictions and projections and things like that, you got to let it breathe, because your biggest fear could be eliminated before you even have to face them. Is that going to happen with Detroit? I don't think so. I think they'll beat the Magic, but will Detroit then beat Cleveland? That's the question. So you worry about what you worry about. You game plan for the Hawks. After that, you game plan for the Celtics, and then see who you're going to meet in the Eastern Conference Finals to get to the NBA Finals. That's the deal. Let's go back to the phones. Andrew in Long Island. Andrew.
Hey, Michael. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I want to talk about the draft, but I want to mention one quick thing about the Knicks.
Yep.
What happened with their scorer? I can't remember his name now. Their big scorer on the other team.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Well, he made a comment today. The one who need
McCollum.
Brunson in the groin.
McCollum.
Yeah, he need him great. You know what he said today? I saw it at the press conference. He was saying that he put on a big show, and he's on Broadway, and I want my $25 back. I just wonder how much that's going to erupt the Garden crowd tonight for sure.
Well, he certainly made himself an enemy, but it's $2,500 that he was fined. And Brunson didn't say a thing. He said no comment. But what the Hawks are trying to do, if you watch the first game, trying to punk the Knicks. They're trying to aggravate the Knicks. They're trying to play a little bit rough and dirty. And the Knicks, luckily, did not fall victim to that. And, everything you hear is that McCollum's a really nice guy, but they're trying to get inside the Knicks' head. That Brunson stayed down after getting kicked in the cubes, and that he milked it, and that got a technical for McCollum. He could say what he wants. The Knicks can't fall victim to that. They can't get involved in these reindeer games, and just do what you have to do. Just do what you have to do. Let's go to Weiss in Bayonne. Weiss.
Hello, Michael.
Hello, Weiss.
You have a winning show.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem with that. You can't get anything better than the Giants trading Dexter Lawrence to the Cincinnati Bengals for their 10th overall pick. If the Giants had played their cards right, they probably could have gotten the Bengals' 41st pick in the second round.
Yeah, I don't know about that because the Bengals knew that they have to tack on a year. I mean, getting a first-round draft pick for this guy coming off his worst year, I think the Giants did a good job. My only concern, though, Weiss, is, okay, you got a 10th round draft, a 10th pick in the first round. Are you replacing Dexter Lawrence? And you're probably not. So that's a big hole in their defensive line. The more I look at this deal, though, the more hubris that Dexter Lawrence has. Do you know that he signed a 4-year deal for what, $90 million? And he had that great year in the first year and demanded more money. So the deal meant nothing to him. So they gave him some incentives that he could reach, like $3 million more in incentives for year 2. He ended up reaching $1 million and had a terrible year. Terrible. And then decides he still wants more money because the market has passed him by and demanded a trade. The thing that bothers me with this stuff is that the player always wins. Contracts mean nothing, and I know I'm going to get the phone calls. Well, it doesn't mean anything to the owners. It absolutely does. If you have a guaranteed contract, like what the Browns have with Deshaun Watson, they can't release him. But if the contract is structured that, okay, it's $90 million and only the first 2 years are guaranteed, and if the Giants decided to release Dexter Lawrence, which they didn't, they're allowed to do that. But the player signed a 4-year contract, and he's asking for more money after the first year, and that doesn't seem untoward to you? But teams don't want to have unhappy players on their team, and I understand why Harbaugh doesn't want to do that, because he's putting in a new program, and he wants to change the whole vibe around the Giants. He doesn't need a guy holding out or saying that I don't feel well enough to practice, hold in. He doesn't need it, doesn't want it. So he made this trade. Now, whoever made this trade, whether it's Shane or Aponte, they got a lot. For a disgruntled guy who's demanded a trade publicly to get a first-round draft pick, the 10th pick in the draft, I think they did quite well. Quite well. Let's go to Juan. He's on the YouTube chat. What's up, Juan?
Hey, Michael. Thanks for taking my call.
You got it.
I'm calling in. I'm a Yankee fan, so believe me, this isn't coming from some Mets homer trying to defend the team. But 11 straight losses, at some point, somebody above the players has to be held accountable. And if the Mets want to send a real message to that clubhouse, the move right now is to move on from David Stearns. And I'm saying that for the sake of the Mets players and their fans. When the skid gets this bad, you either start tearing apart the clubhouse or you show them you still believe in them.
Well, I don't think I just don't think the prudent move is to get rid of a GM after 22 games. That's not the prudent move. So you're going to change course and direction on the way the team is built after 22 games? Yeah, you can't get rid of the players. So the first move is you get rid of the manager, and that I think would be unfair. But also, if you see the power that Steve Cohen has given to Stearns and the fact that he waited as long as he did in order to make him the head of baseball operations and all the money that he's paid him, I think he's the second highest paid head of baseball operation behind Friedman. And all of a sudden you're going to fire him? It's a bad look on Cohen. I don't think that impacts the players at all. Juan, you couldn't be more wrong. You think the players care who the GM is? You want to impact the players, you fire the manager. And if you see all the quotes coming out of Chicago, they all love Mendoza. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. Well, somebody's going to pay the price for their ineptitude. Last year, you know who paid the price? All the coaches. Guys like Jeremy Hefner, who did a great job. And now, by the way, is with Atlanta. That's off to a great start. Antoine Richardson, who turned Juan Soto into a stolen base machine. They couldn't give him enough money. They couldn't come to an agreement on money, which is disgraceful. That should never stand between the Mets keeping a coach that they desire. And you know what team he's with? Oh, yeah, Atlanta. Believe me, I've been around ball players a long time. Firing the GM will do nothing to motivate them. It will not upset them. They have no connection to David Stearns. Nothing. Firing a manager might impact them negatively or positively. That will have an effect on them because that's an everyday interaction that they have. There is no everyday interaction between the Mets and David Stearns. Now, if they crap the bed this year and are awful, and you want to talk about the end of the year, then I get it. He has not distinguished himself at all. The moves he made, you look at the trade deadline for the Mets last year, abysmal. He did a terrible job. Everybody that he brought in was awful. Awful. And so far, and it's, again, the returns, it's early in the returns, he did not improve the team this year either. He just made it different. You tell me the guys they're rolling out at first base are not worse than Pete Alonso defensively? Pete Alonso is a professional first baseman. Is he great? No. Brett Beatty booted a ball in the Cubs series that opened up the floodgates at first base. Viento's not a good first baseman. Polanco can't even stay healthy. Wrist and Achilles. You can't tell me that Pete Alonso's not a better defensive first baseman than them. Carson Bench has gotten off to a really, really slow start. Every move he's made, the trade for Simeon looks awful. First of all, he looked like a shot offensive player in Texas, right? But you were so desirous to get rid of Brandon Nimmo that you took on $25 million a year for this year and the next 2 years to get Simeon, to get rid of the rest of Nimmo's contract. And by the way, Met fans, I don't want to upset you, and I don't think you need me to tell you, go check out what Brandon Nimmo's doing for the Texas Rangers. What a great start he's off to. Everything the guy has done, except for signing Clay Holmes, which was an inspired signing, has not worked out. The Manaea signing hasn't worked out. The Montas signing didn't work out. They're paying him not to play this year. Montas can't even break the rotation. He has not been good. And you can't say, well, how about Juan Soto? All Steve Cohen. And the year before, bringing back Alonso, all Steve Cohen. Nothing to do with David Stearns. So when Steve Cohen waited anxiously, panting like a puppy to get David Stearns, you know what he envisioned? He envisioned Andrew Friedman with the Dodgers. Small market GM, now with all the wherewithal financially to do what he had to do. Well, Friedman's been brilliant with the Dodgers. We have not seen brilliance yet from David Stearns. But firing the GM does nothing at the 22-game mark. Nothing. And if you think it does, then you haven't met baseball players. They couldn't care less what goes on in the front office. They couldn't care less. They care about things they deal with on a daily basis, like Carlos Mendoza and coaches. That's who they care about. That's what they notice. ESPN New York and Floor & Decor are giving you the chance to design your day with me, Michael Kay. One lucky fan and a guest will win a studio visit, exclusive meet and greet with me. This is your all-access pass and an experience that you won't forget. To enter, head to the Floor & Decor flagship store. Where is it? Well, I'll tell you, it's at 850 3rd Avenue in Brooklyn. Design your day with me, Michael Kay, presented by Floor & Decor. We'll come back, take more of your phone calls. Remember, we have the great Sal Paolantonio joining us at 2 o'clock. We'll talk Giants. We'll talk Jets with the upcoming draft on the 23rd. It's the K Show, rolling till 3, right here on ESPN New York.
The Knicks.
In the lane with two. Floater at the horn is good and rattled in. 19 first quarter points for Brunson.
The Hawks.
Deuce off the dribble. Buries a three. Deuce McBride came to play in the fourth quarter.
The NBA playoffs.
All the way to the rim. Right-hand bank shot and a foul. Karl Anthony Towns is taken over.
Game 2 coverage gets underway tonight at 7 on 880 and the ESPN New York app.
Life is motion, but for Jaime, debilitating pain in both hips brought everything, including family time, to a halt.
Every doctor told me the same thing. They would do one hip at a time.
At White Plains Hospital, Dr. Jacob Totka's unique expertise provided an alternate approach by replacing both of Jaime's hips on the same day.
In just 2 hours, I got 2 new hips, and I went home that day.
White Plains Hospital, among the best hospitals anywhere that just so happens to be here. A member of the Montefiore Health System.
Chris Carlin with you. Glad to be joined right now by Taylor Canfield. He is the U.S. Sail GP team driver, and we are all getting ready for the Mubadala, New York Sail Grand Prix coming up at the end of May. Taylor, how we doing?
Yeah, we're excited for the home event in New York, and can't wait to be there and racing in front of all the fans.
Now, what is your role as driver of the U.S. Sail GP team?
So, as a driver, you kind of have 2 different roles. One is trying to help make sure that the boat is going, as fast as you can around the racetrack. And then in addition to that, it's kind of the decision maker on board and, using the information that I'm getting from the whole team and the coach booth to kind of make those split-second decisions around the racetrack.
It sounds like an awesome atmosphere. What's the energy going to be like sailing right at New York City?
There's no better feeling racing in front of the home crowd, representing our country and hearing their cheering through our headsets that we have on board is, it gives me the chills just thinking about it. So we're pumped.
We're looking forward to the Mubadala New York Sail Grand Prix coming at the end of May. Taylor, thanks.
If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique personal injury and workers' compensation laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling all types of accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for injured New Yorkers. From construction to car accidents and slips and falls, they've got you covered. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS, where your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
The New York City Department of Correction offers countless career opportunities, from specialized units to leadership roles that support public safety and change lives for the better. It starts with one step: registering for the New York City Correction Officer exam. Earn over $109,000 after just 5.5 years. Benefits on day one, job security, pension at any age after 22 years of service. Go to nyc.gov/joinDOC or search Join DOC. One career, many opportunities. Register today to take the test.
Discover where your future can take you at SUNY Canton Spring Open House on Saturday, April 25th. Explore exciting new programs like data science and analytics and cybersecurity, designed to prepare you for today's most in-demand careers. Tour campus, meet faculty, connect with current students, and sit down with financial aid representatives. Plus, attendees can enter for a chance to win a scholarship. For registration details and information about courtesy bus trips from New York, email admissions@canton.edu. SUNY Canton, your future starts here.
Rich Eisen here. Running a small business means every hire matters. A bad hire costs time and money, but the right one helps your business grow. The challenge? Finding that person without sorting through resumes. That's where LinkedIn Hiring Pro comes in. It screens candidates so you can focus on conversations with qualified talent. With Hiring Pro, you can hire with confidence and build the team you need. Join the 2.7 million small businesses using LinkedIn to hire. Get started by posting your job for free at linkedin.com/Eisen. Terms and conditions apply.
I can't do it today. I already have plans. Something came up. There are a million reasons to put off a cancer screening, but one reason to keep it. Early detection can save lives. PfizerForAll.com/screenings.
Join DiPietro and Rothenberg this Thursday night for a special couch cast of Round 1 of the NFL Draft, presented by Calandra's Bakery. The Jets and Giants now have 4 picks in the top 16, and Rick and Dave will react live as the first round unfolds. Plus, the guys will also react in real time to Game 3 of the Knicks-Hawks series. Catch it all in this YouTube-only exclusive, and it's all from Calandra's Bakery and ESPN New York.
I-149 in New York City. Hope you all doing well. First day of the week. Well, yesterday really. It's Sunday through Saturday is the week, but you know what I'm saying. It's Monday, first day of the work week. Hope you all doing well. 1-800-919-3776. Sal Paolantonio joins us at 2. We'll talk Giants and Jets with the draft approaching. Kevin in Brooklyn. Kevin?
Hey, Mike. How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. Can't complain. Just 2 things real quick. One,
I know before you were mentioning, or fans were mentioning, about the loud noise in Yankee Stadium. I don't have a problem with it. I know you say it's really an age thing when it comes to that.
There's a lot of young people that don't like it either.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't have a problem with it. I think it's pretty good. It gets like the crowd going because like there's some crowds that are dull and they're not really into the game. But
I don't think that's a Yankee crowd though. That's not a Yankee crowd.
Yeah,
if you have to artificially jumpstart a Yankee crowd, then there's problems. That's just not true. It's just not true. Now, this is a different ballpark than the other Yankee Stadium because architecturally you can't have overhangs where the upper deck is like hanging right onto the field like the other place did. You can't do that anymore. It's not allowed. But this is a loud place. I was at the World Series in 2024, deafening. I was at the World Series in 2009, deafening. No, I don't buy that. Listen, we've gone over this with the sound. Some people like it, some people don't. Seems like most people don't. But the players want it loud. And that's who you're catering to right now. But don't say that Yankee Stadium is quiet. It's not true. If anything, when you pump artificial noise into a ballpark, you're drowning out the crowd. I've seen it at Knicks games. I've seen it at Barclays Center. So it makes it sound loud by having loud music and sound effects. That doesn't necessarily mean the crowd is loud. Go to John in Chatham.
Michael.
Hello, John.
On Don Manning. How are you?
Good.
On Don Mattingly's birthday, I had a call. And to say that I believe I know the real reason Cashman hasn't hired Mattingly through the years. He had plenty of opportunities.
Okay.
And I came across an interview on YouTube, and it was Dan Patrick interviewing Mattingly years ago when he was the Miami Marlins manager. And Patrick asked him about hitting, of course, and what did he think of this new thing, the launch angle? And Mattingly said he wasn't a fan of it, and that he believed, level swing and you get power through your hips and balance and that sort of stuff. And as we know, Brian Cashman loves him some home runs, and he's a fan of that launch angle. And I just believe that's why Mattingly hasn't been hired. And
but John, it's not true. He hired Don Mattingly as the hitting coach. That was Brian Cashman who did that. So that's just not true. Now, Brian Cashman was quoted as saying, he interviewed Mattingly for the manager's job when Girardi got it. And he said, I'd find it very difficult to hire Don Mattingly because every manager is hired to eventually be fired, and I would find it very difficult to fire Don Mattingly. Now, why they have not brought him back in some capacity, I don't know. Doesn't have to be the hitting coach. Could have been the bench coach. But he's the bench coach now with Philadelphia, and there's a chance that Rob Thompson gets fired because Philadelphia just got swept by Atlanta, and there's whispers that Rob Thompson could go. And maybe Don Mattingly gets elevated to the managerial position with the Phillies, although maybe he would feel uncomfortable with that because his son Preston is a GM. But you can't say, I just can't let you say, well, Cashman would never hire him. He hired him as the hitting coach. He's a hitting coach with Joe Torre. So when you say you can't hire him or you wouldn't hire him, that's not true. Simply not true. Let's go to Kevin in New Jersey. Kevin.
Hey, Michael. How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
I'm all right. So someone had mentioned something earlier about the Yankees potentially trying to lock down Ben Rice, but I wanted to call in like a week or two ago. I heard you make a point with Joe Girardi about something during the A's game with the A's trying to lock in Nick Kurtz, but he wasn't budging. With the possibility of a lockout next year, what factors would lead a player to like holding out instead of securing a guaranteed deal now?
Oh, you would think you'd want to have a guaranteed deal now because maybe the prices go down with a salary cap. But I think that the Players Association, Kevin, are very clear that they're not giving up and giving a salary cap to the owners. So if the owners are dead set on having it, we might not have baseball in 2027. I hate to say it, but that's just the truth. So, yeah, there's something to be said for locking yourself in, but there's something to be said for, I think the Dodgers, the Yankees, and the Mets, who are well over the Cohen tax, if there is a salary cap that's instituted, they're going to have to shave salary over time. They'll be grandfathered in for a while, but they're not going to be able to add salary. They're going to have to shave salary. I think it makes sense for really young players, but Nick Kurtz wants to play game to game or year to year, and there's a risk in that. What if he has a fall off from his statistics? Look at Christian Campbell of the Red Sox. They signed him to a long-term deal, and he's in the minor leagues. So sometimes the team loses on that too. And I said it earlier, I just don't look at Ben Rice as a candidate to lock up long-term at his age. Because if he becomes an absolute star and he would become a free agent at 30, the Yankees would sign him at the top dollar that they have to sign him. You know, one thing that I've noticed, though, fans don't only cut bait early. Like if a guy's struggling, like that guy that called in about Trent Grisham last week and now won't show his face. But they also fall in love early, too. And I'm a big Ben Rice fan. I think he's a legitimate hitter. I really do. But things have to breathe. You know, it's like a show me over a number of years. The thing that you like about Ben Rice, he had a decent year last year, and all the numbers showed that it should have been better, that he didn't hit in good luck. This year, he's having one of the best starts to a season of anybody. But again, deep breath. The NFL draft is coming up this Thursday, April 23rd. New York is on the clock. The Jets pick 2nd and 16th. The Giants pick 5th and 10th. And Rick DiPietro and Dave Rothenberg, they're breaking it all down live. Join ESPN New York's Couchcast, your second screen for the NFL draft. Real-time reactions, instant takes, and everything New York fans care about. Watch along, react with them, and don't miss a single moment. ESPN New York's Couchcast on draft night. This Thursday at 8 p.m., it's presented by Calandra's Bakery. We love them. They're great people, big supporters of the station. Sal Paolantonio will join us in about 3 minutes, so stay tuned for that. We'll talk the Dexter Lawrence trade and the draft aspirations for the Jets and the Giants. It's the K-Show. We are rolling until 3 right here on ESPN New York.
Monday with Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. The show will be live from the Knicks block party outside of MSG ahead of Game 2 between the Knicks and Hawks.
Right-hand bank shot and a foul. Karl-Anthony Towns is taking over, and this place is going nuts.
We'll have special guests throughout the show as the Knicks look to go up 2-0 in their series against Atlanta. Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg live from the Knicks block party on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
Want to earn extra revenue for your business? Amazon Hub Delivery is looking for local business owners to assist with deliveries. When you become a partner, you and your staff will deliver packages to customers in your area on a schedule that works for you. With each package delivered, you'll gain extra revenue and exposure for your business. Plus, Amazon Hub Delivery makes it easy to get started. There's no upfront cost, delivery experience, or long-term contracts required. Sign up to learn more at Amazon.com/Hub Delivery. That's Amazon.com/HUB Delivery.
Knicks fans, it's time to hit the court with BetMGM, an official sports betting partner of the New York Knicks. Download the BetMGM app today and add a boost of excitement to every New York game day with same-day parlays, live betting options, player props, boosted odds specials, and the best daily promotions in the business. With the BetMGM app at your fingertips, you can experience the excitement of betting on your favorite players and get in on all the blue and orange action as your New York Knicks drive the lane. Find out why basketball fans love BetMGM, an official sports betting partner of the New York Knicks. BetMGM. Make it legendary.
BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 years of age or older to wager and physically present in New York and New Jersey only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Gambling problem in New York? Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For New Jersey, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
What's up, my friends? This is Francisco Lindor.
This is Devin Williams.
This is Luke Weaver. Bo Bichette here. You're listening to the home of New York Mets baseball.
WHSQ and WCBS-FM HD2, New York.
Attention, New York Verizon mobile customers. Score a massive win with award-winning Fios home internet for an incredible $20 a month, guaranteed for 3 years. Switch today for savings you can count on. Call 1-800-VERIZON now. For new Fios customers with autopay, mobile and home, and bonus discount. Enrollment required. 3-year price guarantee applies to the Fios base monthly rate only. Additional terms apply.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Do you read more about your team in the off-season than in the season? Does your game day outfit include a brown bag with eye holes? Then you may be a fan of a BST or bad sports team. Luckily, when you bundle your home and auto insurance with Progressive, you're protected. Because seeing your painted face in the rearview mirror after a loss isn't just depressing. It's distracting. Visit Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Covered subject to policy terms. Not available in all states or situations.
We all know winning means showing up stronger, faster, better than before. And when you're chasing that edge, the Drop by GNC cuts through the noise, bringing you the best new innovations in sports nutrition and performance. From muscle building and strength support to improved recovery and focus, we curate the newest drops from GNC Amp, Pro Performance, and Mega Men. Plus, Ghost, Raw Nutrition, Bucked Up, and the top new brands changing the game. No guesswork, just leveling up. Check out the Drop by GNC for what's new, what works, and what's next.
All right, you know the deal. On the 23rd, that's this Thursday, the NFL Draft, highly anticipated, and both New York teams now have 2 first-round draft picks. Sal Paolantonio is about to cover his 33rd draft. Amazing, absolutely amazing. So who better to talk to as we get closer to that day than the great Sal Paolantonio of ESPN. Sal, how you doing?
Michael, it's such a pleasure to talk to you. Always around this time of year. I love the draft. It's one of my favorite times of the NFL calendar. Other than the Super Bowl, this is it. I love it.
Now, I know that you've been embedded with the Jets, but I want to ask you first about the Dexter Lawrence deal. Are you surprised the Giants got a first-round draft pick and a 10th pick at that for Lawrence, a guy who publicly demanded a trade?
Blown away. Shocked. What a great job by the Giants. I don't know who's running things, whether it's John Harbaugh or Joe Shane or Don Aponte or any combination of those three. But Dexter Lawrence evaporated all the Giants' leverage by demanding a trade, and then the Giants get the 10th pick overall. They must have convinced the Bengals, or at least Dexter Lawrence's agent, Joel Siegel, must have convinced the Bengals somewhere along the line that there was another team interested in Dexter Lawrence. Because to get the 10th overall pick for a guy coming off a down year who wants a raise is amazing. Nobody does that. I mean, the Giants are in a great spot. I go back, I covered John Harbaugh's first draft in 2008 with the Ravens. His top 2 picks in that draft in 2008 were Joe Flacco and Ray Rice. 4 years later, he goes to the Super Bowl and he wins it. Now, he had Ray Lewis on that team. He had Ed Reed on that team. So it's not totally similar. But I think with the Giants, when you have the number 5 pick and the number 10 pick, and then 6 more picks in rounds 2 through 6. Don't forget about those 6 other picks. That's 8 total picks. They can put together the foundation to make a run at the division title and at the conference title in 4 years, I believe. Now, the big if, Michael, and this is the big thing, you can get a 10th pick overall for Dexter Lawrence. You can pick twice in the top 10, but Jackson Dart's got to stay healthy. This, to me, is job one for John Harbaugh, for Matt Nagy. They have to make sure that Jackson Dart is available to this football team, checked 5 times for concussions, missed 2 games with a concussion. I mean, he's got to make sure that they teach this young man to protect his body, because without Jackson Dart, this is just all hot air. We're just wasting our conversation.
Now, I co-sign everything that you said, but there's one thing that just jumps out at me. So you get the 10th pick in the draft, and that's terrific. But you have a big hole in your defensive line. They really needed Dexter Lawrence. So how do they fill that hole?
Well, you do need him, because if you look at the top 4 teams left on the landscape last year, the 2 teams in the NFC Championship game, the 2 teams in the AFC Championship game, the final 4, they were the top 4 teams in interior pass rush in the National Football League last year. It is all about interior pass rush. That's why the Bengals are so desperate to get Dexter Lawrence, because the Bengals are in a win-now mode. Steelers, new coach. Who's the quarterback? Ravens, new coach. Cleveland, new coach. Who's the quarterback? Win the title, get a home playoff game, win 1 game. You're in the AFC Championship game in a conference where we don't know what's going on with Patrick Mahomes. The AFC is wide open. What do the Giants do to get interior pass rush? Well, you got to look at the model down I-95. You got to look at what Howie Roseman did. Drafted Jalen Carter. First he drafted Jordan Davis, then Jalen Carter, back-to-back. You got 2 young, hungry guys, and they were inexpensive, clogged up the middle. Vic Fangio turns that into a Super Bowl winning championship, because it was all about the interior pass rush for the Eagles when they beat the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes in Super Bowl 59. So you have to look at that template and say, okay, we're going to invest this team around Jackson Dart, which I have a real caveat about that. But we're going to invest this team around Jackson Dart. We need to get younger, faster, stronger on defense, especially on the defensive line, especially defensive tackle. And I think they can do that in this draft. There's a lot of defensive tackles available.
Now, if there are a lot of defensive tackles available, then what? The Bengals never make this deal, Sal. They never make this kind of deal, and I know that they want to make Joe Burrow happy, but why would they trade the 10th pick and have to give the guy a raise if there are a lot of defensive tackles in the draft?
Because of the Bengals. Sorry, Michael. You laid that one up for me. I apologize.
No, I get it. I know you're joking, but joking on the square.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Yeah, it is. Listen, they're desperate. And like I said, it's a win-now mode, and they want to make Burrow happy. And they've invested all this money into those wide receivers and that passing game. But they still have – we're talking about the Bengals here on New York radio. Forgive us. But, they can't protect the quarterback. They've never been able to protect the quarterback there. I think this is a brilliant move for the Giants. I really do. Because you're starting over with a new head coach. The guy wanted out. He wanted more money. You got a new structure in place. You get 5 and 10, and then you got a total of 8 picks in 6 rounds. That you can lay the foundation for a brand new football team if Jackson Dart stays on the field healthy.
Now let's look at 5 and 10. What do you see for the Giants there at those spots?
Well, I think it depends on what the Jets do. The Jets really they control the draft because nobody really knows what they're going to do with number 2, whether it's going to be Arvell Reese of Ohio State or David Bailey of Texas Tech. They're 2 edge rushers. Bailey's more polished, plug it and play. Arvell Reese, 20 years old, has more upside. It's one or the other. And it depends then what the Cardinals will do. Adam Schefter was all over Get Up this morning with our friend Mike Greenberg talking about, Jeremiah Love, the running back out of Notre Dame, might be in play at number 3 with the Cardinals. And so then what did the Titans do? But we made the case, Greg Cosell and Darius Butler on our matchup show, which is still on demand and on Plus, and I think airs tomorrow night, that the Giants should take Caleb Downs no matter what, the safety out of Ohio State. And the reasoning is simple. And just follow me here for a second. I mentioned the Eagles and what they did defensively to Patrick Mahomes. And you look at last year, this past Super Bowl, what Seattle did to Drake May and the New England Patriots defensively. They did it through the eyes of a multi-dimensional defensive back. They were able to rush for and use multi-dimensional players on the back end to stymie both the Patriots offense and Josh McDaniels. We all know he knows what he's doing, and Patrick Mahomes, a multi-Super Bowl winner. So in back-to-back Super Bowls. And it's really interesting, and I point this out in the show, and Greg does such a great job of breaking this down, and so does Darius. You know, last year, Michael, in the NFL in 2025, on average, NFL teams scored 23 points per game, per team. That's a 5-year high. So scoring is way up. Also, you had a record number of games that ended in 3 points or less, 73 of them. That is an all-time NFL record. So points were up and games were close until you get to these Super Bowls. Then they are blowouts, and they're blowouts because of what these defenses do to the quarterbacks. And you have the same opportunity. Bear with me here for a second. Let me explain. You have the same opportunity with a guy like Caleb Downs. Now, why Caleb Downs over Sonny Styles? Because Downs can play really anywhere. Matt Patricia, the defensive coordinator for Ohio State, who coached the defense with New England, we all know that, had Caleb Downs in the slot 134 snaps. He had him deep safety at 134 snaps. He had him in the box against the run 134 snaps last year alone. Equally, on all three of those positions, the same number of snaps. He's a multi-dimensional player who can attack the football anywhere on the field. I love him. Greg loves him. Darius loves him. We all agree the Giants should take him at number 5.
Now, it's interesting because you're telling me the first 5, what could be the first 5, and maybe it's no longer a thing. But in that first 5, you have a safety being selected and a running back, which used to be you never take those guys that high. Has that changed now?
Well, I think the economics are pretty similar in most cases, but I think both of those players are outliers. Now, the Giants took Saquon Barkley, and Saquon Barkley did turn out to be a Super Bowl champion with the Eagles.
But they wouldn't pay him. It's like people don't want to pay running backs.
They don't want to pay him, and the economics are there. But I think with Jeremiah Love, there are, in my view, there are 2 absolute matchup nightmares once you get past Fernando Mendoza on the offensive side of the ball. One is Jeremiah Love, and the other is Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end out of Oregon. Big, strong, super fast, ran a 4.39 40. But again, you got to pay a tight end if you're going to take him in the top 10, which you're probably not going to do. But Jeremiah Love is a kind of guy who is, I think, people use this term all the time. I am loath to use it, but I'm going to use it anyway. I think he's a generational player. Mm-hmm. I really do.
All right, so you have the Giants at 5, taking a safety. How do you project them at 10, and how do you project the Jets at 16?
Yeah, well, let's talk about the Giants first at 10. They can go a number of different ways, but I think the number one thing that they have to do is make sure that the offensive line is fixed. And I could see them potentially, because there are some offensive linemen that you don't want to take very high, I could see them moving down.
Okay.
And getting extra draft picks and then taking an offensive lineman later in the first round. If they don't, there are going to be plenty of really good players right there. I mean, really good. And if Sonny Styles is available and you can take Styles and Downs from the same defense and put them in there, you have the foundation of a really good defense in New York. And I think one that they can really work with over the next couple of years. They're both terrific multi-dimensional players, and you're going to need them in this league at some point. Down the road, you'll fix the offense in this draft. Now, the Jets, I think, at 16, Michael, I think that pick's open for business. I could see the Jets trading out of there. I think there are a number of teams lower down that want to move up, the Eagles being one of them. I think the Eagles could easily try to move up to number 16. That's a spot for the Eagles to go up and get one of the top offensive linemen if they like them. Or, as I mentioned, that tight end. That tight end would be really good for the Philadelphia Eagles, especially as Adam Schefter has reported this morning that it looks like A.J. Brown is a goner after June 1st, and he's going to be moving up to New England because they really need a big body to patrol the middle of the field, and Kenyon Sadiq would be perfect there.
Talking with Sal Paolantonio here on the Michael K. Show, his 33rd NFL draft. Now, since you're embedded with the Jets, is there any quarterback that they like? It doesn't look like they take one in the first round, but is there anyone they like as a project?
That's a good question. I think they're doing a really good job of keeping their cards close to the vest. I don't think they want to give away what their intentions are beyond Geno Smith. I mean, the Geno Smith thing is kind of odd to me. You know, he's a bridge, but a bridge to what? It's like a bridge to nowhere right now because they don't really have the future at the quarterback position. So they have to take a quarterback. I really like Ty Simpson. I think he's smart and tough. Does he have the physical traits of a drop-back quarterback who could play at MetLife Stadium 8 times a year in the NFC East? Probably not. He's not big enough, strong enough, or have a strong enough arm. And I think that's some of the reticence about Ty Simpson. But, you know, you got Frank Reich there now. Running the offense, calling the plays. And Frank Reich has always liked big, tall quarterbacks. He loved Nick Foles for that reason. He loved Carson Wentz. So I would put that out as a big, fat indicator of what I think the Jets are going to do. They're going to find somebody that Frank Reich can work with and likes.
Do you know, Sal, whether or not they loved Mendoza?
I don't. I don't think they did a whole lot with Mendoza.
Mm-hmm. Do you like Mendoza as the number one for the Raiders?
I do. I like Mendoza a lot on a number of levels. First of all, he's a great face of the franchise, great CEO, great teammate, toughness, leadership on and off the field. 2, on time and on target. He's a very accurate quarterback. People like to throw around this cliche, he can make all the throws. He can make all the throws.
Mm-hmm.
And also, why will he work for the Raiders? They brought in Clint Kubiak, offensive coordinator who worked magic with Sam Darnold and won the Super Bowl last year with Seattle. And on our show all year long, what we showed with the Kubiak offense with Sam Darnold is get him on the move, get him out of the pocket, make sure that he has a clean pocket, make sure that he gets the ball out of his hands quickly. And Fernando Mendoza in college showed those traits, that he can get outside the pocket and run and throw accurately on the move. So I think you're going to see that. I think the one thing that he's going to have to learn is to be under center. He didn't do that very much at Indiana. But he seems like, you know, he's already talking about the fact that the hash marks are more condensed in the NFL, and I have to get under center, and I have to get the ball out of my hands more quickly because the pass rush is different at the NFL level. So he's just like a sponge. He soaks it all up. I really, really like him.
All right, since you're with the Jets, maybe you have this answer. So at the owners' meeting, Aaron Glenn comes out and says, well, calling defense is my superpower. Why does he make such comments that are met with derisiveness, rightfully so? It's just a silly thing to say, Sal. Why does he say these things? His dealings with the media in the first year were not good, and then he comes out and says something like that. Well, if it's your superpower, then why didn't you use it last year in your first year?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I don't know. You know, he is going to call the plays on defense. He's going to a 3-4 defense. You know, they just had so many problems on defense last year. Couldn't turn the ball over. They were dead last in pass rush win rate. So, I mean, it really doesn't matter whether he calls this or that. He's got to get more pressure on the quarterback. That's the number one thing, whatever he decides to do. And frankly, when we watched tape of the Lions, when he was in charge of the Lions defense, what did he do? He blitzed the quarterback. out of the building, right off the bus. And the Jets need to do that. The Jets need to take more chances in blitzing the quarterback and getting after the quarterback. And maybe that'll generate more turnovers, create better field position for Geno Smith to, quote, take him to the promised land. I had to do that, Michael. Sorry.
Yeah, another great quote. Here's something that concerns me as well. You know, the outside noise is, well, they're going to pick their quarterback next year when Arch Manning is available, other quarterbacks, the kid from Oregon, whatever the case may be. But if they're in a position to draft those guys, Sal, I don't think Aaron Glenn's going to be there. I just think the Jets are in a very sticky situation transitionally, where is Geno Smith going to win enough games for Aaron Glenn to keep his job? And if he does, then they're going to have to use a lot of their draft picks that they've accumulated to move up. And if you run into a problem where the team that has a top draft pick isn't going to trade the draft pick, then you're out of luck.
Yeah, and I think Aaron Glenn understands that he's on the clock. He's totally on the clock.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it doesn't seem like Muji is, though, because I think Muji looks like he's done a better job than Glenn.
Well, you know, he traded away all those players and got those picks, so the proof will be in what he can do with them. You know, when you have 44 out of the first 44 picks, more than any other team, 4 out of the top 44 picks, more than any other team for the New York Jets, and you traded away your top 2 defensive players to add picks, and you were brought in here to rebuild the team, you know, and it's a non-quarterback year. Again, you've got to have a foundation of what you're going to do, and it has to start, in my view, defensively, because they've got to win on one side of the ball at least. And the easiest way to do that right now, in my view, for the Jets, is on defense. And they have to double their number of wins. That's the bottom line. It has to go from 3 to 6 to 7, 6 or 7.
Now, you watch so much tape for your show. Do you believe that Geno Smith had a bad year because it was a bad situation, or it was just a bad year?
I think it was a bad situation, and he had a bad year. I don't think there's an either or. I think he had a bad year. And it'll be difficult for him to really improve. I mean, he threw the ball to the other team way too much. And, you know, he's got to cut down on the interceptions. He's got to be much more careful with the football. And that's something that Frank Reich will be, you know, that he'll stop that stuff. You know, that's, if you look at what Frank Reich did in Philadelphia and in Indianapolis and other places and other stops along the way, the first thing that and I've been around Frank Reich forever, and, you know, we used to live in the same town in Morristown, New Jersey for years. I watched him coach. I listened to what he says to players. And the first thing is the football is the program. You got to take care of the football. And he always taught that, and he always played like that when he was a player. So he will cut down on the number of turnovers, and that'll make Geno a better player. I don't know about the promised land. I don't know where it's going, because the future of the quarterback position is not on the roster for the New York Jets. But, you know, that's where both of these teams are, and Jets and the Giants. And I'll say it again, going back to the Giants, Nagy, Harbaugh, everybody needs to get Jackson Dart in the room and say, if you get out of the pocket, you will slide. If you're running out of bounds, we want you to run out of bounds before you take a hit. And if you don't, you sit the next series out in practice and you watch Jameis Winston do it. And then you can go back in. Because you're no use to us with continuing to get concussions and being unavailable to the football team.
I'm curious your thoughts, though, because you mentioned earlier that in 4 years they could be competing for a championship, but this is a fan base that has suffered through some really bad football. What is the best-case scenario, Sal, for you that you think the Giants could do this upcoming season? Again, they have a big hole in the defensive line with the trade of Lawrence. The quarterback situation is, you know, contingent upon this kid staying healthy. So what's the best-case scenario? How many games can they win?
Well, I think you have to first look at their strength of schedule. I'm a big believer in two things. How's the quarterback playing, and what's the strength of schedule? New England Patriots are a great example of that. They had an historically easy strength of schedule last year, and their young quarterback, Drake May, played out of his mind, played way above his skis. This year, the Patriots have the hardest schedule in the NFL, and Drake May's coming off a Super Bowl loss. and he's going to need some help. The Giants have the 17th toughest schedule in the league, so they're right in the middle of the pack.
Mm-hmm.
And if they keep their quarterback on the field and they turn him into a productive quarterback, which is not going to be easy, those are the two things that I think you have to point to and say, okay, they can. You want to double your number of wins in your first year as the head coach, John Harbaugh, and that's what they need to do.
Before I let you go,
yes,
give me a name that not the whole world knows that you think could be an outstanding difference maker coming out of this draft.
That not everybody knows. I think it's Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, safety out of Toledo. I think this is an under-the-radar guy who is an absolute big hitter, and I'll say it again, and it's something that we do on our show. You have to have these big, strong, fast, multi-dimensional defensive backs in the National Football League now, because you want to get pressure with 4 and drop 7 into coverage, and you want a robber, a patrol guy who can absolutely become a matchup nightmare and a game wrecker. That guy, I like that guy a lot, and he's not a household name in this draft.
Well, I like you a lot. You always give us so much time and so much information. I can't thank you enough. Just great stuff, Sal.
Michael, it's always a pleasure to be on your show, and thank you for having me.
Of course, and have a great draft. Enjoy. Number 33. Thank you, Sal.
Thanks, man.
All right, that's Sal Paolantonio, 33rd draft, and he's going to be concentrating. He's been embedded with the Jets, so we'll follow him. So good stuff from him, giving us a little bit of a piece of what's going on with the Giants and the Jets. Hey, for Knicks Hawks round 1, you have to tune into MSG Networks, as they will be hosting pregame and postgame coverage for each Knicks playoff game all postseason long. Game 2 coverage begins at 7:30 p.m. with the pregame show, followed by a 60-minute postgame once the game goes final. Bill Pito, Alan Hahn, and Wally Zerbiak will all be in studio, with Alex Monaco on the street interviewing fans, and Monica McNutt and Tyler Murray will join throughout. Tune in tonight at 7:30 p.m. for pregame coverage of Knicks and the Hawks. All right, you heard what Sal had to say about the Giants. He loves the deal for the Giants, loves the deal that they got the first-round draft pick, 10th pick, for Dexter Lawrence, a guy who demanded a trade, and he gave you some names that he thought that the Giants would take. We'll still talk some Mets and Yankees as well as the Knicks too. 1-800-919-3776. Hey, if you're heading into summer without a medical emergency kit, you're taking a risk most people don't think about until it's too late. Summer colds linger and can turn into sinus infections that last for weeks. Getting sick right before vacation, it can derail everything. Really, it can. And when you're traveling, finding a doctor and a pharmacy, well, it's stressful. That's why I ordered a medical emergency kit. It's like having urgent care and a pharmacy right at home. It includes essential prescriptions like amoxicillin and generic Z-Pak to treat a wide range of common and serious illnesses. So if you wake up sick, at home or on the road, you already have what you need. No waiting for your doctor, no hours at urgent care, no pharmacy lines, no copays. Just match your symptoms to the right prescription in your guidebook or call their telemedicine doctor standing by. Start on your meds sooner and feel better faster. Every home needs at least one medical emergency kit. I'm going on a road trip right now. I got that baby packed. Order yours online in minutes, and it's shipped to your door. And save $45 with my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880. That's promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880.
Chris Carlin with you. Glad to be joined right now by Taylor Canfield. He is the U.S. Sail GP team driver, and we are all getting ready for the Mubadala New York Sail Grand Prix coming up at the end of May. Taylor, how we doing?
Yeah, we're excited for the home event in New York, and I can't wait to be there and racing in front of all the fans.
Tell us why fans should be excited for the Mubadala New York Sail Grand Prix.
The racing is just so exhilarating coming in and watching it from the shoreline of Governor's Island and in front of the Statue of Liberty, racing in one of, the biggest, most amazing cities in the world. I'm getting the goosebumps just talking about it. And, these boats are, the fastest boats in the world, racing, with the best sailors in the world. It's really cool. And it's going to be so electric in New York. And yeah, it's our home event this year. So we're pumped.
We are pumped as well. Taylor, we appreciate your time. He is U.S. Sail GP team driver Taylor Canfield. We're looking forward to the Mubadala New York Sail Grand Prix coming at the end of May. Taylor, thanks.
Discover where your future can take you at SUNY Canton Spring Open House on Saturday, April 25th. Explore exciting new programs like data science and analytics and cybersecurity designed to prepare you for today's most in-demand careers. Tour campus, meet faculty, connect with current students, and sit down with financial aid representatives. Plus, attendees can enter for a chance to win a scholarship. For registration details and information about courtesy bus trips from New York, email admissions@canton.edu. SUNY Canton, your future starts here.
At City Harvest, we believe no New Yorker has to go hungry. With your help, we're on the road 365 days a year, rescuing over 77 million pounds of nutritious food and delivering it free to millions of New Yorkers, transforming surplus food into sustenance, sustainability, and smiles, rallying thousands of New Yorkers to power a network of nourishment across our city. One day, one meal, and one New Yorker at a time. That's how we feed good.
Wow, that's a lot of distractions. Why don't you just focus on the road?
Relax, I'm a great driver.
What about other drivers? Not everyone's a great driver.
I can watch out for them. I'll be fine.
Watch out! In 2023, more than 3,200 people died due to distracted drivers. Keep your eyes on the road. This message brought to you by the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee.
This is Rick Brunson, the assistant coach from the New York Knicks. I'll be driving to our games this season in style in my new Jeep Gladiator from Princeton Jeep. My friends at Princeton Jeep gave me all-star treatment, and you can expect the same thing. Just mention I sent you, and they'll treat you like family. Princeton Jeep has tons of inventory and great deals on new vehicles. Visit Princeton Jeep at 1045 State Road in Princeton, New Jersey, or online at PrincetonJeeps.com and tell them Rick Brunson sent you.
Hey, this is Chevy, managing partner at Precision Solar. We believe going solar should be simple, and it should make real financial sense. We manage the entire process from start to finish and offer flexible solar payment options designed around your goals. When the numbers work, solar can lower your monthly cost and give you predictable energy for decades. And if you refer someone who installs with us, you can earn up to $1,000. Visit PrecisionSolar.com to schedule your free home assessment.
Yankees fans, have the official Yankees official game day program delivered to your door. Subscribe to Yankees Magazine by calling 800-GO-YANKS or visiting Yankees.com/publications and get 8 issues a year for just $34.99 plus shipping. The Yankees official 2026 yearbook and media guide are also available for purchase. Get your Yankees Magazine yearbook or media guide today. Call 800-GO-YANKS or log on to Yankees.com/publications.
Evan Cohen here. In life, as in sports, the pros make it look easy. That's why pro golfers like Jason Day, Ben Griffin, and Patton Kazire trust the pros in lawn care. True Green. They have the experience and expertise to give you a lawn worthy of the PGA Tour. And since True Green does the work for you, you get more free time, or more tee times. So stop stressing over your lawn and start loving it. Sign up now at TrueGreen.com because nobody makes it easier to get a golf course quality lawn than True Green, the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour.
Rich Eisen here. Running a small business means every hire matters. A bad hire costs time and money, but the right one helps your business grow. The challenge? Finding that person without sorting through resumes. That's where LinkedIn Hiring Pro comes in. It screens candidates so you can focus on conversations with qualified talent. With Hiring Pro, you can hire with confidence and build the team you need. Join the 2.7 million small businesses using LinkedIn to hire. Get started by posting your job for free at linkedin.com/Eisen. Terms and conditions apply.
Join DiPietro and Rothenberg this Thursday night for a special couch cast of Round 1 of the NFL Draft. Presented by Calandra's Bakery. The Jets and Giants now have 4 picks in the top 16, and Rick and Dave will react live as the first round unfolds. Plus, the guys will also react in real time to Game 3 of the Knicks-Hawks series. Catch it all in this YouTube-only exclusive, and it's all from Calandra's Bakery and ESPN New York.
Hey, did I tell you about this? The Michael K. Show Reverse Remote coming up this Thursday, April 23rd, presented by Floor & Decor. A full show takeover with everything you need to upgrade your home while we break down everything happening in New York sports. And if you're in Brooklyn, well, stop by Floor & Decor's flagship store at 850 3rd Avenue, because while we're on the air, there's plenty happening in store. The Michael K. Show Reverse Remote presented by Floor & Decor. 1-800-919-3776. Let's go to the phones. John in Freehold. John, talk to me. Hello, John.
Hey, good afternoon, Michael. Hey, Michael, how you doing this afternoon?
All
really
good. How
enjoyed
about
that interview with. I'm good. Really enjoyed that interview with Sal. Great job on your part with that. I want to address the Jets. I know Sal mentioned a possible trade from 16. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I'll tell you what, Michael. The Jets need playmakers on both sides of the football, as you know. They need a major upgrade in their talent overall as a team. So if somebody gives them a really nice offer for that number 2 pick, I wouldn't be opposed to trading it. If somebody wants to move up for Jeremiah Love, or they fall in love with somebody else, and Darren Muji can acquire more picks.
But how much would you want to go back, though, John?
I'll go from 2 to 4, 2 to 5.
Okay.
And I'll probably lose out on Reese, and I'll probably lose out on Bailey, but I'll take Styles. Or if Downs is still available, I'll grab him at 4. You know, if the Titans want to move up, there's a lot of rumors that the Titans love Jeremiah Love. So if they feel they may lose him and they want to move up to 2 with the Jets and make something happen there with the relationship with Robert Saleh, they already made one trade this offseason. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Okay.
They also needed a guard. They could use an upgraded guard on the offensive line. But, you know, I disagree with people when they say this is a one-quarterback draft. And I got to be honest with you, Michael. I know you asked Sal what his opinion was of Mendoza. I'm not drinking the Mendoza Kool-Aid.
Me
I'm
neither.
not caught up
Me
in the
neither,
Mendoza
John.
mania.
I don't get it. Me neither.
Yeah, I think the Jets dodged a bullet, Michael. I really do. God bless the Las Vegas Raiders. I hope it works out for them. I wish them the best. But I think they dodged 2 bullets with the quarterback position, not getting Mendoza with that first pick, and also losing out with the kid going back to Oregon. I think those 2 guys were not ready for prime time. I don't think they're franchise quarterbacks. There's one guy in this draft I like, Mike, and I want to run this by you. You talk about more trades here. Jets gave a young linebacker with promise, Damian Sherwood, a good contract, and he had a bad year last year. He had an off year. Jets don't currently have a 3rd-round draft pick. Another thing I would not be opposed with Muji doing is trading Damian Sherwood somewhere for a 3rd-round pick, because we currently don't have one. And the quarterback that I've eyed and that I like in this draft, I feel is underrated and has potential, is the LSU quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier. He's got a strong arm. He's athletic. His dad's the offensive coordinator with the New Orleans Saints. You now have Frank Wright here. You have Musgrave, the quarterback coach here. I think that's the kid in the 3rd round that's worth a chance in the Jets take it. I don't want to wait till next year. If I could get a prospect that I believe has a future here and I could develop and grow with, start with Geno, and then later in the year, if things aren't going good, you want to integrate Nussmeier into the offense and see what he looks like. But if you can upgrade the overall talent, like I said, you got to get that secondary receiver to play opposite Garrett Wilson to help Geno Smith now and maybe a Nussmeier later in the season, as well as, you know, going forward in the future, and make the other upgrades you need, get that guard on the offensive line going forward. I think Nussmeier has a world of talent, Michael. I think that could be a home run for the Jets. I think that would be a good selection for them. I don't believe all this hype that there's only one quarterback in Mendoza and there's nobody else. I don't like Simpson. I wouldn't draft him in the 2nd round if I was the Jets. I'm not high on him either. Because Sal made a good point as well. Northeast football, you got to play it at MetLife. You got to go into New England. You got to go into Buffalo. You know, cold weather, windy conditions. You got to have a quarterback with a strong arm and that can stand in that pocket and be, you know, confident and move around a little bit. I know he's not the 6'4", 6'5" frame that Frank Wright likes. But, you know, neither was Drew Brees. I think Garrett Nussmeier is the guy for the Jets. That's who I would target.
Well, John, call back whenever you like. Good stuff. You know your stuff. Here's the deal with Simpson that worries me, because I think about the credo of Bill Parcells that you have to play, you know, an X number of games before you should consider a quarterback coming out of college. And Ty Simpson has not played that many games. So he's going to be learning on the job. Now, as for Nussmeier, highly thought of coming into the season. The fact that he could fall to a third-round pick, obviously he didn't show enough at LSU to continue that high praise. But that's not a bad roll of the dice. Maybe things went awry there. New coach comes in, the whole deal. So I wouldn't mind taking a chance on him. I don't know if he's the quarterback of the future, and he comes from a good, football background with his dad. But it does scare me a little bit that he would drop. A lot of people at the beginning of the year talked about him. Oh, this could be a first-round draft pick sort of guy, and he certainly dropped out of that situation. Let's go to William in Miami. William. Hello, William.
You always giving your best at everything you do.
Thanks, man.
I just wanted to mention, how do you feel after every Grisham home run, first and second? Do you think if Judge doesn't win a chip, should that affect his legacy? I think it shouldn't, even though New Yorkers will kill me for that. But if he had a core four, he might have already, a couple of championships, but that's not the case.
I think, William, listen, if you listen to the show as you sound like you do, there's not a bigger appreciator of what Aaron Judge is about. And I think he's one of the greatest baseball players we'll ever get a chance to see. But, of course, it's going to affect his legacy. It's going to be a line that's missing on his plaque if he doesn't win a World Series. He knows it. And it's the yeah, but for all the haters out there. Yeah, but. So unless he fills that yeah, but. And in baseball, really, William, in baseball it comes down to this. It's got to be everybody. It takes a village to win a championship. In basketball, one great player can actually catapult a team into a different stratosphere. A great player. And they don't come greater than Judge. But if you put Judge, let's say, on the Chicago White Sox, it'd be terrible. He has a pretty good team around him, but does he have the core four? Does he have the great players that those Yankee championship teams had? No, he doesn't. But to say that it doesn't affect his legacy, I think you're being disingenuous. It has to. It's something that would be missing. It's something missing on Ted Williams' legacy. Doesn't mean that Ted Williams is not the greatest hitter who ever lived, but it's always the yeah, but he didn't win a championship. Ernie Banks, one of the greatest shortstops you'll ever see, eventually moved to first base. Yeah, but he never won a title with the Cubs. Get it? So it's the missing part of the resume. So, of course, it's going to affect him in some way. And it's going to allow the haters always to have that thing to lean on. Now, as for how do I feel when Trent Grisham hits a home run, I don't feel anything. Because the guy that called in, a lot of people referring to that said that Trent should be bagging groceries at Ralph's, which I don't get. Ralph's is not really a prevalent store in the Northeast, but that's another story for another day. He doesn't know baseball. So why would I feel good that Trent Grisham has hit a couple of home runs, a 2-home run game, and then a home run yesterday? Trent Grisham hit 34 home runs last year. He's going to have home runs in the 20s, maybe 25, 27. It doesn't prove anything because, as I said, that caller who has yet to call back, and he's waiting, because if Trent Grisham goes into a slide, and he had a slide after the 2-home run game, before the home run yesterday, I think he was 1 for 16, something like that. He's waiting for an extended slump so then he could call up and say, I told you so. He doesn't have the guts to call in now because the bottom line, he doesn't know baseball. He's willing to cut bait on a guy who had 34 home runs last year because he started slowly. So what are we proving when you're dealing with a guy like that? He doesn't know the game to the extent that I'm going to be upset or happy because it's proving him wrong. His words proved him wrong. You're going to give up on, I think it was 14 games when he called in, that he was ready to call up Spencer Jones, and that was it. Trent Grisham was awful, should be bagging groceries, which, talk about an insult. Guy's a Major League Baseball player, hit 34 home runs, who wants him bagging groceries at Ralph's. Not even Acme. Not even, Stop and Shop. Not even ShopRite, but Ralph's. Can you insult somebody worse? No offense to Ralph's. Let's go to Moose in Jamaica. Moose. Hello, Moose.
My esteemed co-host. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Can't complain. Yankees winning. It's beautiful to see. And if you remember what I told you on the previous iteration of the Michael Kay Show, I went to the July 4th game in 2024 around the start of Ben Rice's career. heard the home run, saw the home run from the bleachers, and said, "This guy's a legitimate major league hitter." Like it's what Paulie says on the broadcast. That sound that you can literally either be on your phone talking to somebody or just lost in the days of the summer heat, and you instantly just turn your head like, "Wow, he has that power, he has that contact," and you can see it in the stats, and it's finally lining up for him with the outcomes of the at-bats. That being said,
I think the thing that people have to look at, Moose, and you obviously know the import of it. You know, sometimes we get criticized for giving exit velocity, but the harder you hit the ball consistently, the more chance you have of getting hits, because there are only so many fielders on the field. And you can see with Giancarlo Stanton, he hits a ball maybe 4 feet to the left of a shortstop, but he hits it so hard it gets through. And somebody who doesn't hit it hard, it won't get through. And that was the underlying numbers last year with Ben Rice. Ben Rice hit the ball consistently hard, over 95 miles an hour. That is a telltale sign that he's doing everything right as a hitter. And now he's finally seeing the results. He's off to a great start. The combo of Judge and Rice, you know, what do they have together? 17 home runs, more than any duo on any team, right? And then you add in when Stanton gets hot again, that's a pretty good threesome in the middle of the order. And we haven't even seen a home run yet from Jazz Chisholm. So I think there's a lot more for the Yankee offense, and it'll be interesting to see how they do on this upcoming road trip. Now, when we come back, I'm going to tell you a story that is so shocking that it's hard to make sense of. It's so mind-boggling that you'll all sit there and go, really? Yeah, so wait for that. I got that coming back. Right now, new FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. From player props on your favorite stars to all the tools you need to back them up. It's everything you need all in one app. So don't miss your shot. Head to FanDuel.com/local to get started. FanDuel, the official partner of the NBA. 21 plus and physically present in New York. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Hey, New York and New Jersey, commitment issues? No problem. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $25 a month forever, as in for life. Switch now at boostmobile.com. After 30 gigabytes, you may experience slower speeds. Pay $25 a month as long as you stay on the Boost Mobile Unlimited plan.
Hi, this is Don LaGreca. I'm big on having the right game plan, on the ice and at home, which is why I use Viking Pest Control myself as the pest control provider and proud partner of the New Jersey Devils. Viking has been protecting homes for over 45 years with expert pest control service and solutions tailored just for you. From ants and cockroaches to rodents, stinging insects, and backyard mosquitoes, Viking keeps pests out of your house and out of the play. Bundle pest control with mosquito services and save big. One call, one company, total peace of mind. Visit VikingPest.com. Viking Pest Control, protecting your home inside and out.
Monday with Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. The show will be live from the Knicks block party outside of MSG ahead of Game 2 between the Knicks and Hawks.
Right-hand bank shot and a foul. Karl Anthony Towns is taking over, and this place is going nuts.
We'll have special guests throughout the show as the Knicks look to go up 2-0 in their series against Atlanta. Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg live from the Knicks block party on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
Life is motion, but for Jaime, debilitating pain in both hips brought everything, including family time, to a halt.
Every doctor told me the same thing. They would do one hip at a time.
At White Plains Hospital, Dr. Jacob Totka's unique expertise provided an alternate approach by replacing both of Jaime's hips on the same day.
In just 2 hours, I got 2 new hips, and I went home that day.
White Plains Hospital, among the best hospitals anywhere that just so happens to be here. A member of the Montefiore Health System.
If you manage an active facility, you don't have time for disruption. Tricon Construction specializes in working inside healthcare, commercial, and industrial buildings without shutting operations down. That means tight planning, clear communication, safe, disciplined execution, because when patients are inside, when tenants are working, when production can't stop, there's no margin for mistakes. When it has to be handled professionally and handled right, Tricon is the only choice. Visit TriconBuilds.com, TriconBuilds.com.
The New York City Department of Correction offers countless career opportunities, from specialized units to leadership roles that support public safety and change lives for the better. It starts with one step: registering for the New York City Correction Officer exam. Earn over $109,000 after just 5.5 years. Benefits on day one, job security, pension at any age after 22 years of service. Go to nyc.gov/joinDOC or search Join DOC. One career, many opportunities. Register today to take the test.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I am grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Okay, team. Huddle up.
Why are you dressed like a hockey player?
Because America's energy security is on thin ice. We're facing an overburdened electric grid, rising fuel costs, and severe weather. But here's your power play. Propane. It's affordable, abundant, safe. Propane is reliable energy, even when the grid isn't. Advantage Propane.
Learn more at propane.com/powerplay.
Now through April 23rd, get to Floor & Decor's flagship store in Brooklyn at 850 3rd Avenue. Enter the Design Your Day with K sweepstakes presented by Floor & Decor. Discover unmatched selection, unbelievable prices, plus standout looks in tile, wood, stone, and more. Explore fresh ideas, find your inspiration, and see real people, real projects. The Design Your Day with K sweepstakes, only at Floor & Decor in Brooklyn. Now through April 23rd. Visit ESPNNewYork.com for full details and rules.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Minutes from Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. They'll be outside Madison Square Garden before Game 2 tonight. So drop by and see them. I want to tell you exactly where it is. It's at Plaza 33. So they're having a block party starting at 3 o'clock live. Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg talking Knicks, breaking it all down, getting you ready for the tip-off. Be nice if the Knicks could take these first two. As I said, what you want to do, not sweat too much in the opening round. Because you got to win 16 games. And if it takes 7 games to win 4 games in the first round, that's going to impact you in the second round and probably impact you in the third round where you're starting to get fatigued. Take care of it as quickly as you can. Play the same way you played in Game 1. You should be able to handle it. Here's the story. A friend of mine belongs to a country club. I'm not going to say where. And in the country club is this 98-year-old man who comes to the club every single day, walks very, very slowly. I mean, you're 98. The ravages of time affect you. Comes to the club every day, goes to a hole, and hits 18 drives off the hole. As much as he could drive at the age of 98. And then putts 18 times. And then he says to everybody, I just played a round. So everybody loves the guy. He's sweet, self-deprecating, and, I mean, to have the wherewithal to get there every single day to play your 18 holes or a round, unbelievable. Well, something happened the other day where he goes to the locker room and is getting a massage. And at the end of the massage, now no one knows whether or not he was joking or not, but the end of the massage, I don't want to use the phrase because there could be kids in the car, but he wants the massage to have a pleasurable conclusion. And he asked for it. And I guess the young lady who was doing the massage ended up reporting the 98-year-old man. And the club suspended him. First of all, if you're 98 and you're thinking about a pleasurable finish to a massage, you've got some really good genes. Really, really good genes. But now the club suspends him. And it can't be a lengthy suspension because when you're 98, a suspension of any considerable length could be a lifetime ban. Who knows when you're going to cash your chips out? And you wonder how, mortified this guy must be. Who knows if he was kidding? And even if he wasn't kidding, listen, it's not. I don't think he put pressure on the woman. I guess he just asked playfully whether or not this could happen, and she took unkindly to it, which I guess I understand. But couldn't they have issued a 98-year-old man a little warning? Instead, he gets suspended from the club. This is probably his reason to live every single day, to go to the club and hit those 18 shots off the tee. Instead, he gets suspended. What a world. What a world. Speaking of old men, I don't think LeBron James gets nearly the love that he should. And I don't know why. I know he's not Michael Jordan. He's not Michael Jordan. Does that mean he's not great? He's unbelievably great. And what he's doing at the age of 41 right now, with no Luka and no Austin Reeves, he got them to a victory against the Rockets. Now, the Rockets didn't have Kevin Durant, but still, you look what he did. And look how he has played. I don't even know why he would even think about retiring, other than the fact that it's probably a lot of work to keep his body in shape to play like this. But what he's doing at the age of 41, if this is the end of the race for him, he's running through the tape. He is phenomenal. We will never see anything like this again. The dedication to his craft. And all he gets is hate. People try to pick out what he can't do, rather than the fact that he's playing at this high level at this age, to me, is incredible and should be celebrated. He's one of the greatest players that we'll ever see. But instead, we talk about what he can't do rather than what he's done and continues to do. He's unbelievable. So are Don Hahn and Rosenberg. They're coming up in a moment. In the words of Billy Joel, life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. I'm afraid it's time for a goodbye again. See everybody. I will talk to you tomorrow at 1 from Boston, where the Yankees will begin their 3-game set against the Red Sox. Enjoy the Knicks and the Hawks game 2 tonight right here on 880. See everybody.
Monday with Don Hahn and Rosenberg. The show will be live from the Knicks block party outside of MSG ahead of Game 2 between the Knicks and Hawks.
Right-hand bank shot and a foul. Karl-Anthony Towns is taking over, and this place is going nuts.
We'll have special guests throughout the show as the Knicks look to go up 2-0 in their series against Atlanta. Don Hahn and Rosenberg live from the Knicks block party on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.